and welcome to the back room. Sandy back again. Just talking, it's sort of always a little bit hard to be light-hearted when you're talking about addictions and all the things that go on with it. But while keeping my sensible face on, we'll talk about some of those areas. And I thought today we might have a bit of a chat. And, presuming that you're looking at perhaps moving away from addiction and that some of the things that you can do. So, one of the things that if you've made some of those choices, you need to know areas that you can go to for help. There's actually noticed the other day, and I haven't researched it. So, if anyone's got any feedback, I'd love to hear about it. About day hab. So it's obviously something that you can go to regularly for, being in recovery, I suppose, or getting into getting out of addiction. So, some of the things that I would like to talk about today is choosing a therapist. Interestingly enough, it's really, really individual, and people have very, very individualistic ideas of what a therapist is. So, you've got everything from perhaps pranic healers up to psychologists, everything in between. Whatever works for you, and whatever your beliefs are definitely your beliefs. Um, I suppose the things that I would say to you is choose your person. Find someone that uh, is has got enough gumption to perhaps challenge your ideas and conception of ideas within moving away from addiction. Because one of the things that I see regularly is with my clients, my addict clients, they will vocalise quite regularly about their past glories, I suppose. And it's really interesting as a therapist when you see people living those past glories, because it means that they're still thinking that's where I want to be. That's addiction. And what you think about in those past glories are, guess what? You're drug affected. That's not you. That's drugs. All right. It might be part of you that's enhanced. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do all of that without any drugs? In fact, potentially, because we have filters and all the rest, you wouldn't do that anyway. So when you think about choosing a therapist, find your person. Find someone that is going to challenge you, that isn't just going to be the yes man, someone that you can relate to, someone that you can talk to, also someone that listens. So even in the challenges, it's not about making you wrong or making your choices wrong, but how the solutions are to get out of those areas and choose better and wiser. So what I'm saying is go to the area that works for you. Try 1,000 therapists. It doesn't matter if it's not the person for you. Move on. Don't get stuck. If you're really looking for help, as I say, I really don't care at what level it is, at who it is that you use. Find the person that you can work with. It's really, really, really important. And if that's not your person, get another therapist. It's easy, guys. Just be truthful to yourself. Perhaps don't, when you think about moving on, also know that if they're challenging because stuff is happening, maybe that's also where you need to stay. So you just sort of got to go, it's sort of not that quick fix, it's that filtering of working out whether that's working for you. All right, so a little bit about therapist, and like honest truth, anytime any of you want to know any thoughts or something along those lines, drop Joey or Aaron a line. I know that they would happily pass it on to me, or quite often I'm sure that Joey would be able to probably cover off some of those areas as well. Also, what is the difference between a therapist and a sponsor? All right, so let's say that you've moved into the area where you're actively coming out of addiction. A sponsor is someone that you can ring 24/7 that keeps you in the headspace of what you're doing and talks you through those difficult times. A therapist actually actively works with you on therapy of how to stay out of addiction. So your therapist is not your sponsor. I very much would love to sponsor a lot of my clients, but I just don't have the time. When they need me, they need to be able to ring me. And I might be in session back to back and not be available for 8 or 9 hours. And that's not ideal for someone that is really needing to ring. And it can just be the 5-second call. The sponsor is one that sort of makes you accountable and is there for you. So if you're feeling like you're going to slip, you ring them. You know, you might have agreements also with that where you go, just ring in on me, you know, X amount of times a day. It's someone that you can rely on a day-to-day basis. As I say, it doesn't mean you don't rely on your therapist, but definitely being a sponsor is a different zone. So just be aware of that. I would also say, even with a therapist, it would be nice that every once in a while you think that you could contact them if you need to, if you can't get hold of your sponsor or whatever. But look, that's just some of the things, hopefully, you're thinking about moving into those areas of moving out of addiction. Things to look for, things that have integrity in your life that means something for you. Go for it, guys. Like, really, it is becoming so cool. And I mean it seriously, so cool to actually now be clean, like to be standing around in peer groups, you know, saying, you know, I used to be an addict. And they go, oh my God, how did you get out of that? And then you'll get it where it's a totally different zone where, you know, you don't sit around and go, oh, I remember when we were doing this, you know, living past glories. We might talk about that next time, about some of those triggers, because they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You know, if you think about it this way, you're just going to do your life without drugs. It's a good thing. All right, until next time, be kind to yourselves, be integral to yourselves, from the back room, and straight back to Joey and Aaron, and have a wonderful time until next time we talk. All right, cheers.